This story begins back in 2009. I can't quite remember the specific date, but let's say summer 2009. I was just out of high school and I needed a car because I had a white Fox body Mustang 5.0 that the engine had gone bad on me twice. But that's another story for another day. As a 17-year-old, this Mustang GT 5-speed, I was extremely happy and excited. I had friends who had new edge Mustangs, and so being able to have the same car as them and compete with them, it was nothing short of special and excitement for me. At that time I worked at Burger King and I had a car payment of $214 per month because at that time I couldn't afford to pay cash for a new edge Mustang, so you get the point. I didn't have much money to do anything to the car. I still can remember the day I picked her up. She had 105,000 miles. It was funny how I got my hands on this car. About a week before I bought her, I went to the same dealership to see a black 2002 Mustang GT, and they were asking $7,500 for it. It was a beautiful car. It had 95,000 miles, black leather interior, and obviously a 5-speed. I had no credit as a 17-year-old, so I had to ask my father to finance the car for me. But he was busy that day working. So I talked to the guy. I was like, hey man, my father is the one that's gonna finance the car for me, so we'll probably come back on the weekend and pick her up because I really like it. And the guy was cool, you know, you just come back whenever you have your dad. So I called the guy the next day and I gave him all of my father's information, you know, personal information to run a credit check. So we did that, and my father had a good credit at that time, so he was approved. All we had to do at that point was go to the dealership and pick up the car, which you know, we had to give a down payment for the car and sign for the paperwork because we're getting a loan for it. So my dad was busy, and we could go only on the weekend pretty much. And yeah, I mean, I was really excited because we were approved. So I already saw myself driving this black 2002 Mustang GT. And so I remember the morning that we were supposed to go pick her up, I called the guy and to tell him that, hey man, we're on the way to pick up the car, have it ready for us. And the guy told me, hey man, I'm sorry, but a guy just came yesterday and he paid cash for it, so I had to let it go. The car is sold now, but you know, don't worry, I got another Mustang GT, and this one is red. It's a 5-speed as well. It has leather interior, and it's only 2 years older than the 02, but and it has 10,000 miles more, but it's also $6,500, so you're saving about $1,000. I mean, I was a little heartbroken, but man, I wanted a new edge at that point so badly, so I rushed to see this red GT. When I got there, the car had just came from the auction. It was really dusty. I mean, I didn't give this guy time to clean it up or anything. I remember when I popped the hood, the car had even spider webs from being sitting. So he gave me the keys. I cranked her up. I went for a ride. The car was really quiet. It only had Magnaflow exhaust, catback. Everything else was bone stock. So the very next day, I went with my father and we picked her up. He drove the car home. So when we arrived home, I asked him, so did you like it? He replied with a smile, it drives like a dream. Now don't do anything to it, don't mess it up. I mean, my father knew that, you know, this 17-year-old kid was probably gonna do some stupid stuff to the car. So yeah, my first race, I want to say, it was against this 98 GT. It had bolt-ons, it had intake exhaust, throttle bodies, and 373 gears. So we did a 20 roll, and we were neck to neck till about 90 miles per hour. Then he managed to pull away and actually beat me by half a car. And you know, I was a little bit frustrated. That didn't sit too well with me, especially losing to a non-PI car. So I can't remember how I bought this H-pipe, but I got it. I went to my local Mustang shop and I got it installed. And if you know anything about 99 204s Mustang GTs, they come with 6 catalytic converters, making the car really hard for the exhaust to flow. So I got the H-pipe installed and went back to the hangouts, and I asked this 98 GT owner to go for another round. It was very cool. And I'm not exaggerating, but we went for a 20 roll, and by third gear I was already about 2 cars pulling away, and I managed to beat him by a good 4 to 6 cars. And I was so happy. Little by little I did a few things to the car. I installed a Mag 1 chin spoiler. I did the suspension to it. I put a Canon filter. I kept the stock intake. At that time I believe that the stock intake was really good. So I went to the auto parts and I bought a Canon, just the filter itself, and I put a throttle body, a 75mm throttle body, a plenum. And one day as I was checking my intake, I saw this like kind of turbos that they sell, but it's not a turbo, it's like a fan that goes into the intake that is supposed to give you horsepower, which is bull crap. It doesn't give you anything. It actually restricts the airflow into the engine. And what makes this worse, that it was sideways, so it was restricting my car on the upper RPMs. Man, that had me so frustrated. And I want to go ahead and play you guys some clips right now of the car doing a few races that I got here and there, and just for you guys to see.
Oh my baby, got me staring at you. So I'm crazy. Won't you bend that back for me? We won't stop. Got your feet both locked. You get to fly with me. I can take you down for a ride. I take you around my life. Jaywalking, crosswalking, lip locking with you. I know it, you know it, we make it.
So at this point, as you can see, I swap out the bullets that I had. Those were the 05 to 09 bullets that the car came with when I bought it, and I didn't like that. And I got the chrome FR 500. I believe those are the name of the rims. Yeah, FR 500s, which they look okay. I had suspension done. I had the Mag 1 grill delete. I had a few bolt-ons. I added 410 gears to the car, so it really helped the car wake up. And so yeah, the car ran good. I mean, I was happy. It had a Predator tune, those can tunes for back in the day, and you know, they're not custom tunes, but you know, it eliminated my check engine light from the cats, and it did its thing. So I was happy with it. So I had a friend of mine who had a 96 GT, and he had the 96 to 98 block with the PI heads, and those motors, when you add the PI heads, it actually brings up the compression ratio to like 10.5, which is higher than the 99 to 04 GTs. And plus on top of that, he had stage 1 cams, or stage 2, I can't quite remember. And he had a trick flow intake manifold, which all along it was worth like $800, just the intake manifold by itself, plus a pretty big colder intake, plus Longtube headers. And he was like, hey man, if you give me $1,000, you know, come here to my house, we'll do the swap. I'll do the swap myself, just come and you help me, and I'll give you my engine with everything that he has, and you know, I'll just take your engine and sell it, because he wanted to do a different setup. And I thought about it, you know, and I was like, oh man, this makes sense. So I wanted more power, so that was the way to go back then. And here's some pictures of that. That's what we're doing, the swap. And so as you guys can see here, the swap was successfully done. And yeah, the car ran good even without a tune. The car was running pretty strong. I got a chance to run against my friend 2003 Mustang GT. He had shorty headers, intake and exhaust, and I managed to pull a few cars from him even without a tune. Then I ran I had another friend who had an SRT4. Even that day it was raining. Second gear, I had no traction. Third gear, managed to get some traction, and I just pulled away from him pretty hard. But then after, well, I want to say 3 weeks, I got the car tuned, and the car was actually running a little bit better with the custom tune. And then trouble came. Trouble, what I mean was, one night I was at the hangouts and I was giving the car some passes. I ran a 3-valve Mustang, and he actually got me, he actually beat me, but I felt that the car was not running good, and it was actually like kind of fuel cutting a little bit. And so I remember I parked on the gas station. I was like, man, I gotta go home, but I was like about 45 minutes away from home. So what I did was, I was like, man, screw this, I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna go home. So as I'm driving, about 20 minutes into the drive, the car, it's really like pulling timing from the engine, and it was like throwing backfires, and I had to even hit the gas a little bit more just to get it running, just regular driving. And all of a sudden the car just stopped, shut down completely, smoke everywhere. I was like, what the hell is going on? The car wouldn't start, it was overheating. I had to call my father. He worked for a company, a tow truck company, so he came with his flatbed truck, picked the car up, and unfortunately what happened was that my fuel pump went out and the car went lean, and actually melted, I believe 1 or 2 pistons I melted, so the engine was toast, and I had to go ahead and I save up, and I think I paid about $800 to $1,000, and I got a 2004 Mustang GT engine. This one, it was supposed to only have 60,000 miles, and the engine looked amazing. I was actually happy because the 99 to 01 had the Windsor motor, and then from 01 to 04 they had a different engine, which actually had a little bit higher compression. 99 to 01 they had 9.0 compression, and 2001 to 2004 it had 9.4, so a little bit better compression, you know. And they said that the 01 to 04 2 valves were a little bit better. So I got that engine into the car, and man, the car ran so good on motor, even with the stock motor. I didn't even take off I sold the trick flow intake manifold. I just kept the Longtube headers, and the car ran good. I remember the first time that I saw this engine and I got it into the car, and we went with the swap. I did a swap on the backyard of my parents' house, and actually finish it off at the local shop where I used to do all the work for the Mustang. I said this will be perfect with this mileage for supercharger. And yeah, next thing you know, I mean, things happen. So as you guys know by the title of this video, I did go with a supercharger. So I want to recap and give you kind of guys the idea of how did that happen. So one day I was with my friend, the one who did the swap for me, and he worked at the local Mustang shop where I had, and where I did all the work with the Mustang and stuff, and I did my gears, and when everything went wrong I always go to that shop. It was called GLM Performance. And yeah, one day he comes up to me, and we were at another friend's house, and he was like, hey man, Jose, which is the owner of the shop, it's selling this Vortech head unit with injectors, and with just the head unit injectors for $800. So this is a great chance for you to do the supercharger on your car if you want to. I was like, man, $800. I was like, man, what am I missing? So I was mixing the front plate, the mounting plate that goes in the front. And so I remember going to eBay and seeing the mounting plate. They were selling it for $300 with all the mounting brackets, with all the bolts and everything. I was like, man, 800 plus $300, so $1,100, and I have a blower. Oh my god. So I decided to purchase the blower. I go to eBay and I order my bracket. So next thing you know, so I ordered the thing, and I go to my friend and I ask him, hey man, since you know how to install this, can we do this? He was like, man, dude, I got you. Go to my house, I won't charge you anything. Let's come hang out, and I'll install the blower for you. So that's what we did. I called another friend of mine, and I went to his house, and we installed the blower. We had a blast that day. Had a few friends come over, and it was a very fun time. We all bundled together, and seeing that blower for the first time on my car, which was a dream of mine, I was like, wow. So the next morning, because I stayed over his house, because I was hiding from my parents. My parents couldn't know that I was doing a supercharger. So I stayed over his house, and the next day we woke up, and I went to the shop because I didn't have none of the pipes, right? That go of I didn't have the down pipe. That's not the down pipe. It's called the power pipe. Goes from the blower to the fender, and I didn't have the pipe that went from the supercharger to the throttle body. So I went to the shop, and we actually custom made everything. We put a power pipe, and I have actually a video, guys, to show you how did that look, and you could see all of the rubber materials, the clamps and everything, different colors, and it looks kind of sloppy, but it worked, and it was really fun to see that being done that way. Okay, this is my 2000 Vortech Mustang GT, Vortech V2 Supercharger, 5-speed. Just started right now. So before I did the supercharger, I had a pretty big exhaust leak on one of the headers, and one of the owner of the shop actually recommended me to go ahead and get a cave member for the car. So I did the K member. It would actually reduce. He told me it would actually take away from the front, the nose of the car, about, I don't know, 70 pounds, 70 to 80 pounds from the original K member. So I went ahead and I ordered the K member, and we installed the K member. That was before the supercharger. Now going back to the supercharger, I got the car tuned. I got the car tuned done on the street. So I did not dyno tune the car, even though I have numbers for the car, which I'll play you guys a clip later on showing the dyno of the car. You just get numbers. So I got the car street tuned, and the car ran beautiful. I mean, the car was awesome. It felt really good. It felt pretty strong. And I was so happy with the car. I mean, the sound, the way that the car pulled when it came into boost. I had the 3.33 pulley, so it was pushing around 10 psi. As you can see, also it was a non-intercooler system, so it means that the air was not being cooled off by no system, and it actually is pulled pretty fast. And with the 410 gears, it felt pretty strong. Now, after a few months of driving the car, I was loving the car. The car was great. It was phenomenal. Even though I had a little bit of an issue with the throttle, where sometimes I would give it throttle and it wouldn't respond. I don't know if it was my math that wasn't good because I bought a used, or my throttle cable that it wasn't adjusted correctly. So then after a few months, one day it was raining, right? So my AC for some reason did not work. I can't remember why, but I was driving on the expressway on the right lane, and I had to merge left because the lane was about to I had to merge. So I gave it some gas, and the car didn't respond, didn't do anything. Then I gave a little bit more gas, and the thing went into boost. So what happened was that I completely lose traction on the rear, and I wasn't expecting the car to do that. So it went sideways on me. I panicked, hit the brakes, and hit the shoulder barrier on the middle. I ended up messing up the rear quarter panel. As you can see, messed up my front and rear rim. And after that happened, I had the car sitting for about a month. Didn't do anything to it. Had it sitting at home, and then I was like, all right, man, I gotta fix this. So I took it to my Mustang shop, and they had sitting there Mag 1 differential. So I purchased that. Also got the guys to install the Mag 1 differential, and got the car back on the road. Obviously I wasn't happy because the car was crashed now, right? My rear quarter panel, plus the paint, the laser red paint is very bad with the sun. So my paint was fading real bad, especially on the roof and the fenders and all that. So I was like, man, this is the perfect opportunity for me to paint this car, repaint it, and just have like a brand new car. So I did that. I went to with a friend of my father. He does body shop work, and he gave me a really good estimate, and I was like, man, you know what, I'm gonna do it, and took it to the body shop. The guy was able to fix it up. Before taking it to the body shop, I purchased 2003 from front bumper of an 03 Cobra. Also purchased a cowl hood, 3-inch cowl hood. Also purchased the rear wing with the third LED brake light, and I got that. And after I want to say like maybe 3 to 4 weeks of being on the body shop, I got the car back. And as you can see on these pictures, the car looked amazing. It totally looked amazing. Also I installed brand new headlights, OEM, and the car was just beautiful. It was breaking necks all over the place, and it was very fun at that time. So I got the car home, and obviously I was loving it. The car had a fresh paint job, and you know, the 03 Terminator front end. Then you know, I had new rims, new headlights. The car looked like a brand new car, and now the fact that it looked amazing and it was a fast car, especially for that time, it was nothing short of amazing to me. And I'm gonna go ahead, guys, and play you some of my supercharged races with that car. So here, enjoy. So as you guys can see on the video, the car ran pretty good with the supercharger setup, and I was very happy. I also got to race a 2011 Mustang GT with intake, exhaust, and a tune, and I was able to beat him by about a car. My car was actually pulling away on top end, but since I had 14 gears, it was running very short, so it was only trapping 110 miles per hour on top of fourth before I have to shift into fifth, which is overdrive. It's not good. And later on, I got to swap out of the gears for 373s, which the car ran a lot better. And I don't know if you guys can hear on the versus the 6.0 GTO, my clutch was slipping actually, and I was able to fix it down the road. And I'm gonna play you guys a video of me racing a nitrous 2-valve Mustang GT, and the video was filmed on the nitrous GT. You could hear my clutch slipping, and as soon as he grabs, the nitrous GT just stops, right? Because my car was pulling actually on him pretty hard. So as you guys just saw, the car, as soon as the clutch grabbed, it was just pulling away so hard. Even though, I mean, you saw that the nitrous GT got the jump, it just couldn't hang with the supercharged GT. And I'm gonna go ahead, guys, and play you the dyno video of the car, so you can hear the exhaust, how awesome it sounds, and a little bit of that clutch slipping. You'll be able to hear it. So as you guys just saw, the car put down 389 something, so I always round it off and say 390. So the car put down 390 to the wheels. That was on a hot, humid day on Miami, which the temperature gets somewhere around 95, 97 degrees, and the clutch was slipping. So I'm thinking that the car on a nice cool day could probably put down 400, 410 to the wheels, maybe. I guess we'll never find out. But so as you can see in this picture, I installed all 3 or 4 Cobra seats front and back. I had a friend who had a yellow 2002 Mustang GT and he wanted to get rid of the car, so he sold me the interior for $400 and I gave up mine. I loved the way the car looked. It was everything I could have imagined. The car was quick, it looked amazing, and the interior was unique. Back in 2011, my daughter was born, and I spent so much time and energy on this car, and the car felt literally like a race car. And what I mean by a race car was that the car had no AC, the K member and front suspension rolled like crap, meaning you could literally feel every bump in the road. And after the accident, the Mach 1 differential was never aligned, so to the chassis of the car, it was almost impossible to get traction and keep the car straight. Just driving my Supercharger thing. So I figured it was best to sell the car. I talked to a friend who really wanted the car, and he gave me a 78,000 mile SRT4 plus $2,000. Back then in 2012, SRT4s were going anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000. So I figured since the car was a 4-door and it was stock, it was best for my family and my daughter at the time, since the car was a 4-door, so it was better for a car seat. Eventually I sold the SRT4. I mean, I wasn't feeling the car and it wasn't the type of car that I was after, so I bought a black 2005 Mustang GT with red interior. So my friend, the owner of my red GT, he had it for a few months and sold it to some guy in North Florida. Then after a year or so, the car went back for sale, and another friend of mine who had an SRT4 as well, he bought it. I went over to his house and saw the car. It looked different as last time I saw it. Now the car was intercooled and it had different wheels. My friend gave me a ride on the car, and I remember it felt so weird being on the passenger seat of my own car. Unfortunately, that was the last time that I ever saw the car. The car was stolen a few weeks after, and the car was never found. As I look back on this video and recreate this story, I can only smile at the fun memories. The ending is very sad, and I wish that the car was still here with us, but the memories that it created will last a lifetime. It was a learning experience for me, that what to do and what not to do. I want to give a huge shout out to Justin Johnson for inspiring me to make this video. If you don't know him, he owns a few New Edge Mustangs, 2 beautiful Terminator Cobras, and two beautiful Mach 1s. He also had a Mustang Bullet, true blue, with a built engine and a supercharger of an 03 Cobra, which he just sold not too long ago. And also I want to give a shout out to his brother. He makes awesome content. He also has a Terminator Cobra and a Mach 1, and please go and check out their channel for awesome Mustang content. And they make a lot of cool Mustang stories, especially of New Edge Mustangs. So if you like New Edge, please go check them out. They know a lot more than I do, and I learn from them. And I want to thank you guys for sticking and listening to this story. It was a little bit longer than I expected for sure, but it was 4 years of a lot of events, and I had to compile everything, so it came out somewhere around 30 minutes story. So I want to thank you for sticking with, and please consider liking the video if you like it, and consider becoming a subscriber. I've just picked up an 04 Mustang GT. I'm looking forward to do a few things to it, and I want you guys to stay here with me. I'll have more videos coming up, and I'm looking forward. Please let me know if you would like me to make more stories like this one, and I'll promise you I'll get better at this storytelling, since this is my first video. And thank you guys, thank you for watching, and have a good one. All right, thank you.